Oh, hey, sorry about that. I forgot to turn on the mic. I'm so sorry. But basically, they were competitive for much of the 2000s after the 90s. Then they hired Terry Francona, which is right here. And then afterwards, they sorry. I'm really sorry for that. They were quite good. 2016, they made it to the World Series, but they lost to the Chicago Cubs, which the Cubs haven't won a championship in 108 years, which is a big deal. As well, 2018, they went back to the playoffs, but they lost in the ALDS to the Astros. What airport? Kilo Charlie Lima Echo. That's Cleveland Hopkins International. That will be our airport. And then in 2020, they went to the, but they qualified for the playoffs, but they lost the AL wildcard to the Yankees in a 2-game sweep. And funnily enough, after this upcoming season, they will be renaming the team due to some major issues with the name, how offensive it is to Native Americans. Some of their current stars are Shane Bieber and Alexei Ramirez, but mainly this guy to the left. He was last year's Cy Young Award winner. Shane Bieber is their main star. But then for their legends, there were 4 major ones. I know we recently talked about Larry Doby being the first black player to make it to the American League. Yes, Goblin Zeus, it is right. KCLE. So I'm actually just going to circle around waiting for everyone. The second one here is Bob Feller. He was a really dominant pitcher. Thanks to his flamethrower fastball, he led the league in strikeouts multiple times. But here's a little known fact about Bob Feller that you didn't know. You see, during the era he played, he actually was enlisted in the U.S. Navy, and he served on the USS Alabama battleship during World War II. And he served there between 1942 through 1945. And in fact, had he not actually been part of the United States Navy, he would have gotten even more wins. He could have easily got 300 to 400 wins career-wise if he actually got a chance to play all those years not in the military. And then the guy here, middle, that's Bob Lemon, the third guy, and he was known for being a really successful pitcher himself. He had over 266 wins as well. He was a 7-time All-Star, 3-time AL wins leader, and he once led the league in strikeouts back in 1950. And the last player is the most recent Cleveland Indians to make the Hall of Fame, Jim Thome. He not only made the All-Star game 5 times in his career, but he also hit over 612 home runs, which is a lot of home runs. Jim Thome was also mostly known as a designated hitter, making him one of the only few designated hitters to make it to the Hall of Fame. And that. And finally, we get to one more thing before we visit the stadiums, ballpark food. Usually, every stream, I like to talk about ballpark food, since I love food. Now, unlike many other places, this is not your ordinary grilled cheese. One of the items is a bacon and mac grilled cheese. Doesn't that sound delicious? You see, the people who make it are Melt, and they're independently owned restaurants in Cleveland. They're definitely something very unique. I mean, to have a Cleveland flair sort of flavors. Which is kind of cool as well. Then we got our little nav map. So our first stop will be where Cleveland Municipal Stadium once stood. That would be where the Cleveland Browns Stadium is actually located now. Then we'll be heading to Progressive Field, their current home, and then finally we visit League Park, the original home of the team. Like I said, I'm just happy that I got a chance to get back up and finish this. I know there was a whole league we never got a chance to do, but you know what? I'm just happy that I got a chance to finish this. It makes me kind of grateful. And all those who stuck by me, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. It makes my day. Thank you. It's kind of nice we're visiting the city of Cleveland for a bit. So the city of Cleveland was actually really interesting. The city of Cleveland, for those that don't know, was known as the city by the lake, which is right here. Let me pull that up. There's Cleveland, Ohio. Quite nice. It's the city by the lake. Hey. Oh, hello there, Isaac Langdon. It's good to see you on here. I wonder how you've been doing today. So yeah, I had an earlier stream issue, so that's kind of an issue as well. Now let's get to our first stop for a bit. So right here is going to be Cleveland Stadium. So Cleveland Stadium was actually was the home of the Indians from 1930, from 1933 all the way to 1993. This was a massive stadium. This thing seated over 70,000 spectators on a full crowd. And the reason it looked like this massive was because this was actually the stadium of the Browns. The Browns have actually played there too. In fact, when the ballpark was originally built, back in 1932, the center field wall was 470 foot up, and they had to actually reduce it to where it is today to around 400 feet. Which is still quite big, but this thing was not really suited for baseball. It was much better suited for the NFL's Browns. Much better suited for them. It's much better suited for that team. And apparently, over time, the stadium did not age gracefully as well. In addition to this as well, Cleveland Stadium also hosted quite a few games. They actually had to split it with League Park as well. It also hosted the All-Star Game 4 times through its entire career. And through most of its tenure, this was the largest stadium in Major League Baseball by seating capacity, and the only stadium that even surpassed it was the LA Memorial Coliseum. Yeah, and the Dodgers just played there for 4 years, and Mile High Stadium in 1993. So this was technically one of the first multi-purpose stadiums in the majors as well. And it used it to draw a crowd of 65,000 during the 1935 All-Star Game. However, there were some huge issues with the stadium. Because of the fundamentally different sizes between baseball and football, the baseball sightlines were just not good at all. They were bad. There would be no reason to take it It's just like all the other ones. In addition to this, the outfield, the original field, was so large they had to actually build an inner fence in 1947 just to cut down the size of the outfield, as it was originally 470 feet to center field. In addition to this, there was also one other major issue for the ballpark. It was built right next to Lake Erie, and the major problem was insects, more specifically midges and mayflies. Especially during the hot summer nights, those midges are a major pain in the rear end. I mean, I recommend on YouTube there was a video about the whole midges incident, and that's not a fun thing to be around as well. And in the wintertime, there's also biting cold winds as well. So that was a major issue for Cleveland Stadium. And what occupies the site now? Well, the Cleveland Browns Stadium now occupies the site. Here. Instead, that now occupies. That is also their ballpark as well. That's not been built correctly. So then we can get to their newest ballpark, Progressive Field. Now, for that stadium, Progressive Field is their current home of the Cleveland Indians. This was built in 1994 to fire replace that terrible other stadium. This stadium, the capacity of the stadium was, the listed capacity of the stadium was actually around 42,000. At the peak, it was like around 45,000, and now as of this year, it's listed as 35,000 people. The first official game was held on April 4th with U.S. President Bill Clinton at the time threw out the ceremonial first pitch as well. The ballpark has several unique features as well for the structure. The center field, the field is situated on a 12-acre Kentucky bluegrass, which is the kind of grass that's used. It also has, it was illuminated by 19 vertical light towers, 3 behind the scoreboard, 6 behind the first plate base. Also in addition, left field is 19 feet, even though it's only 325 feet left field, it's 19 feet high, which is known as the Little Green Monster. The center field and right field walls are around 9 feet high. And the center field area is also known as Heritage Park, which they converted a little picnic table area to being a place where they have the Hall of Fame located. Thanks to these renovations, it also hosted the 2017 All-Star Game, thanks to all the renovations done to it. And as we get to the first part, this is the Cleveland Browns Stadium, which is where Cleveland Municipal Stadium once stood. And next to that stadium is the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. That's where all the rock stars get inducted to the Hall of Fame. I mean, it's quite nice out here in the city of Cleveland. Definitely a beautiful place to visit. Also, in addition, the one thing about the Indians that we should know of is the movie Major League. That's probably the ultimate thing that encapsulated the Indians in their struggles. There's the football stadium. I mean, the visibility is so good out of this. And who landed down there? I think I see a... No, those are goalposts not playing. I was wondering. As well. Then we're going to fly to Progressive Field. We're just going to cut through the buildings. Then right here, this is Quicker Loans Arena. That's home to the Cavaliers. They're a professional basketball team. And they're most well known for being the longtime home of basketball legend LeBron James, who's from Akron. And that's where we'll be going next episode. And here's Progressive Field. I know it hasn't done really well, but you can definitely see some recognizable features. Heritage Park, there's the Liberty Monster, the big old scoreboard. Definitely some landmark features. And then the last place we're going to be visiting is League Park. This was the original home of the Cleveland Indians. This was originally built in 1910. Now, this stadium is actually pretty unique for a couple of reasons. First, League Park was actually originally built in 1891 as a wood structure and was rebuilt in 1910. When it originally opened, it had around 9,000 seats, and then in later years, in terms of capacity-wise, it was around 22,000. What the stadium was most well known for was some wacky dimensions. The left field, which is right there, that was 385 feet, which is pretty crazy to think about by today's standards. Center field was 460 feet, which is extremely deep. And then right field was only 290, but you had to deal with a 40-foot fence, which is pretty high to think about. Now, the Indians, for much of their time, had to alternate between this park and the bigger Cleveland Municipal Stadium for night games. As well. Then the stadium was actually torn down, but as of now, the site of the old ballpark was actually been rebuilt since. It's been rebuilt for a few times. In fact, it actually now serves as a public museum. It now serves as actually a museum, and as of 2011, they actually restored the ticket house and the bleacher wall. And in 2012, they actually restored League Park. It's now been restored back to almost its former glory, and is now part of the Baseball Heritage Museum, which houses many artifacts from baseball history, and many of them specifically from League Park, which I think is a really cool thing to think about. And there it is. There's League Park. Ironically, of all the old Cleveland stadiums, this is still around. It's just now part of a museum. And let's slideshow. There she is, League Park. Looks. That's cool. Just imagine hitting two, and the reason they would even have those dimensions to begin with is look where this thing was built. That whole area is where it was built. That's why center field was so much deeper than right field. I mean, if you're a left-hand pull hitter, you can absolutely destroy it, whereas right-handers would really struggle. Kind of cool to look over the Cleveland area. And then I think Berg Lakefront's not far from here. In fact, it's actually very close to us. There you are, Kozaki and Smurf. So there it is. So I think the airport's in sight. It's not far from. We're going to be landing on 2-4 left, if you guys don't mind. But isn't it just cool to fly these ultralights across all those cities? I mean, it's just such a cool way to actually fly around the areas. That's one of the things I want to do to set myself apart from Colonel Fork. And it's one thing just to fly over really fast, but I want to take my time. And plus, many of these ballparks are in the city, and I think it'd be really cool to. It would be really neat to fly over the cities. It will gain a whole new perspective. And there's our landing site right here. There it is, Berkeley Front, which is right across the river. I mean, it's what. Well, maybe you think. Well, I mean, why would you not want to land right in front of Lake Erie? I mean, what a view. We're going to be landing right here. This is a tail dragger, so I gotta be a little careful when landing this thing. And there she goes. Oh my gosh. Yeah, you landed in the stadium, huh? Yeah, it's not an easy thing to take off. Like, you got such a short area, and you also got to worry about the stands. Hey, you landed. Hey, you managed to take off. Like I said, you're more than welcome to take pictures. In fact, I want to cherish this memory as well. In fact, I might start doing that before my streams. I may want to take some pictures of where we might want to go, and I might want to put them in Discord. I think it would be great. And here comes all of the aerolights. I wonder if I think I have an idea for my group. For the final episode, we should use the aerolights and ultralight planes. I think I should name my division the 65th Viper's 95th Ultralight Division. Perfect lane, Goblin Zeus. That's perfect. There's Smurf. Congratulations. And there you are, Kozaki Flyer. Looks like everyone's down. So basically, I want to tell you guys, but seriously, thank you all so much. I mean, for all the guys that came back on my stream, thank you. Thank you so much. Today was such an up and down day. Everything went very well in the beginning. Especially with Two-Tone Murphy giving me an awesome rate of 69. That made me extremely happy. All the follows, the support. Thank you so much. And then after all the terrible things with my frames, and even led to a CTD. In fact, I had to restart the whole computer because everything was screwing up. But for all those who stuck through with me, thank you so much. It really means a lot for the support. And I want to seriously give you all so much credit. It just made me very happy. And it also made me happy that I finally got to finish what I started. So thank you all so much. And for next week, we'll be heading off to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, home with the Pittsburgh Pirates. as we fly around the city of Pittsburgh for a bit. We'll take off from here and end actually in Altoona as we fly through Pittsburgh. So if you all don't mind, have a great day, you all, and good night. In basically 19... Let's all see the movie.